You asked me what my opinion on the current state of the Electoral College is. I believe it's flawed. I believe that we've had 5 times now where the presidential candidate has won the popular vote, but lost the election based on the electoral vote. And in more recent times, of course, it was Gore, and then 2016, it was Clinton. So I believe that's a huge flaw. Now, the other reason I think that it's flawed is that the fact that the Constitution does not require an elector to vote for the candidate who wins the popular vote. So that's a huge problem. And then finally, I think that the other issue with the Electoral College and how it's flawed is that if neither candidate actually won the majority of the Electoral College votes, the election would have to be decided by the House of Representatives. And this is a problem because each state would then have one vote, and states with smaller populations would count as much as larger states, which is not representative of the people. So if we're looking for that, and that's what we want, those are my concerns about the Electoral College. Now, this is someone that actually cares about and loved being an elector, but sees the problems with it. Now, you're also asking me what I know about the Founding Fathers' reasoning and creating the Electoral College. Well, it's been suggested that the Electoral College was a way to ensure that wealthy landowners maintained control. There's, I think, a little bit of truth to that, but it's, in my opinion, it's a little different. The Electoral College was, I think, created for a buffer between the population and the selection of the president, and I believe that is true. So they apparently, the Founding Fathers were afraid of a direct election, and they believed that it was possible to elect an authoritarian type of leader that could manipulate the public and come into power. Now, in my opinion, from the most recent presidential election, it's clear that to me, that the Electoral College did not work as it was intended because we have Donald Trump in office. I believe Donald Trump is the kind of president the Founding Fathers didn't want, and I really do believe that. Now, you're asking me also if I believe the Electoral College should be reformed. And if so, how would we reform the Electoral College? Well, I believe it would be better for our country to have the popular vote. I believe there are a lot of people that are disenfranchised with voting. And the problem with the popular vote is it requires a constitutional amendment to do it. And as you know, with the Equal Rights Amendment, it's very hard to get a constitutional amendment. So now, there have been 2 suggestions for fixing the Electoral College that I've read about. And those are that don't require a constitutional amendment, and they are the district plan and the proportional plan. I like the district plan the best. The reason I like it is it eliminates the faithless elector and requires them to vote in line with their state's popular vote. So I'm in agreement with that. But you still don't get, I think you still won't have, that feeling or that real touch of every vote counting in the same way as you would by instituting the popular vote. Now, do I believe that the Electoral College is skewed towards one of the political parties? No, I don't think that I believe that. I don't know that party is truly involved. Some believe the origins of the Electoral College are based in appeasing the slaveholding states. And interestingly enough, those states are now mostly leaning right. Therefore, the Electoral College benefits those states despite the power of the popular vote, which comes from highly populated, liberal-leaning cities and coastal regions. So, would I support the institution of the popular vote to replace the Electoral College? Yes, I think that we should move on to a popular vote. I used to believe that the Electoral College was the best way to address the population disparities among states, but I agree with others now that the nationwide popular vote might be the best way to elect the President of the United States. Now, amending the Constitution will take a significant amount of time. First, you have to have Congress propose the amendment, and then 3/4 of the state legislators would need to ratify it. If we keep the Electoral College, it's got to change. We have to eliminate the faithless electors. And I believe the elector has the responsibility to vote for what the people want. You asked me about my spreadsheet that I sent you about increasing the Senate. The whole reason for increasing the Senate, in my opinion, was to get more senators in the more populous states. California, New York, Texas. This is me not looking at the spreadsheet right now, but and getting them more representation. So, for example, those states with a higher population would have 3 to 4 senators versus 2, and therefore they would have more weight when they actually voted in the Senate. And that's huge too. But I think it would help if it's all done mathematically. Let's do things mathematically and not emotionally. And maybe then we'll get somewhere where people can feel that their vote is counting in the United States now. The only other thing I would say is that I'm very proud that I was an elector in Virginia, proud to have represented the people from the 10th Congressional District. And I have to tell you, at the time, I didn't realize that the elector was so powerful, even though I had, run for it. There were some things I really didn't know about the elector. And it is a powerful position or a powerful thing to do. And we have to have people with integrity voting as electors. And I believe that our popular vote people the popular vote counts and has to count in some way. And the way that it's happened recently is it's not counting, and that's disenfranchising many people. Well, anyway, my name's Kathy Stewart Shoup. Thank you. I enjoyed being the elector for the 10th Congressional District.